You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Chris Gillis. Is it really better to date multiple people at the same time? All right, ladies. Oh my God, it's been so long since I talked to my manimal extraordinaire, Chris Gillis, about reality dating shows. We had a tech difficulty last week, which was an epic fail. So that was the episode that was never heard. But we were talking about Love Island, and we know that Bachelorette is starting soon. However, after much coercion, I was able to get Chris and Dr. Emily to watch Love Island. Now we're about 4 weeks in. There's a plot twist, and it's getting juicy enough for Mr. Gillis. Are you happier? Are you glad that you stuck with it? Let's just generally just talk about that.
I mentioned to your hubby, I feel like I'm happy because I didn't want to run a marathon. I got talked in the marathon, and I'm getting close to the end, and I see the finish line, and I'm proud to be able to hang with you because this show is a juggernaut, and just for the clarity, full disclosure, I cannot get Dr. Emily. She'll pop in. She'll hear the funny little, the same, sayings that the British sayings, and then she'll pop out and she'll be like, what is up with that show? And I go, babe, there is some juicy moments, or there's a lot of interesting real life dating takeaways to it. But she's got to stick to it. So I'm more invested. And now I am like, I do find myself, when it's kind of relaxing. I don't know, for some reason.
That's so funny. So for those of you who don't know, what makes it so intense is that it is 8 weeks, and it is it's almost like maybe in America, like Big Brother was, where, it's every day. But so this is like every day there's an episode. If you want to follow along, you can catch it on Hulu. The UK version is what we're watching. Apparently a US one is starting soon. And the host, Ian Sterling, who's Scottish, is going to host the American one, which might make that. He's very funny. So the setup is there are a bunch of course, single guys, single girls. They call themselves boys and girls, which is funny. Some of them are boys and girls. Ages like 22 to I think 27 or 28. But I think as we kind of get into this, there's a couple of things I wanted to point out that I think are really interesting dating takeaways. And one of them is this whole idea of playing the field. Because when we coach clients, we teach them to set up a funnel basically, and they're dating multiple people until they kind of figure out, who is their best person. And in Love Island, they couple up, and they start to build connections, and then they bring in new people, right? So the whole thing they're talking about is, are you interested in other people? And I'm kind of conflicted about should Tosh have been talking to Jay? Should Ekin-Su dating Davide, for a week? Should she have been flirting and kissing, Jay? Or should Paige be talking to Charlie or whoever she's talking to? Because they're in these core relationships. And I'm a little confused because if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said, you're in these relationships. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But if I take it back and I think about dating other people while you're figuring it out, are they being a little too non-committal, or are they doing the right thing by having these conversations with other people?
I get your conflict because you're right. And one aspect, they're just booed up with arm in arm with the same person lazily laying on the sofa of bed, talking about nothing for hours and hours and hours. And all the stuff that, that we do with our significant others when we're just really, really attached to them. I think what's confusing them, I think why I don't love it, and I think on everyone, I think why I'm okay with them open their filter up again and having another lead come in there, and because they don't really get to the meat and potatoes of all the things you talk about and we discuss here. On they don't really know the people, and at least they sure doesn't seem like it on from. I mean, goddamn, they run that camera nonstop, and I feel like they don't truly. You don't hear them asking the deeper questions. I mean, they don't even know what their favorite color or animal or movie is, and they just starting to get around to it. And good Lord, I mean, I feel like I know these people, which is, by the way, guys, the show's different than Bachelor, because in like Bachelor, and so most of the American series are You the One, or there's like just a few people get all the attention in the spotlight for being the loudest, but because these Brits are just so, for the most part, they're just so polite. They all I kind of get to know everybody, I think that's why Marni, to kind of touch back to your old thing. I feel that's why I'm starting to get invested. I feel like I know these people a little bit, and I do have opinions now. And they let all of their country vote on who they should be, kicked off the island and be coupled up with and stuff too. So, it's long answer short. I don't think that I'm okay with them testing the waters, but it is messed up. It is strange that they spend so much time physically being, what did Matt Boggs talk about, when you're like they're always like horizontal in some
right way. Yeah. So lounging on the sunbeds.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting. Like, we don't know if they're having those conversations. They're not really showing them that much. If you ever are desperate, which you would never be, but I've watched it once or twice, they have this thing on Saturdays, the one day it doesn't air live, called Unseen Bits. And they actually, and have you seen it?
I skipped through it. I'm like, I'm going to kill myself. This is so boring.
But they show more of like their playful side or their humor side. You kind of get to see them being a little bit more natural. But what I think is interesting is that, and this is an important thing, like for a relationship to progress, like you do have to spend time together. So there are some people who are dating and they go on one date a week, and they feel like it's not going to 2 dates a week, or it's not going to 3 dates a week, or I'm only seeing you after work and once on the weekend. And you don't really feel like you get to know each other. Or you can just have incredible chemistry and spend a ton of time together and not really get to know if you're looking for the same things or you have the same values. So I think my takeaway really is that it's less about the number of dates you have. It's about, are you really finding out if this person has the same vision, if they're looking for the same thing right now, if they have the same values as you. And some people do move fast.
Yeah.
Because they have those deeper conversations and they see each other often. I don't think you would want to say like, he's my forever guy after like 3 weeks sitting by the pool.
So if you're dating somebody and they're moving along at what they deem to be a comfortable, reasonable pace, but it's still not really, the guys, especially the guys, you're not really getting there yet. And then you get your funnel opens up and another lead drops in. And how do you vocalize it and let that other person who you're getting to know, if somebody else jumps in here and you just have this gut feeling that you need to learn more about this other person.
Yeah, I think so. Well, if we go back to the early days, Davide and Ekin-Su, still early days. Davide and Ekin-Su. Davide who's super handsome and although it's interesting, as now that I know him more. Is he the hottest man you've ever
seen on reality TV? Is he hotter than Tyler? What's his name? Cameron? Because I was like blown away by him, but now I'm like, okay,
That's just it. Like now that I know him, he's kind of douchey, and I'm like, you're not that hot. But So, but he was sort of like, look, I like you and I'm attracted to you, but I really want to get to know you, and I'm definitely not going to sleep with you right away. And for Ekin-Su, he was moving too slowly. She was like, you need to pursue me. You need to grasp me. You need to be into me. You need to bring me coffee in the morning. Like, I need to know. And I think that there's a fine line. Like, I think she needed to chill out hardcore and like let it evolve. But she came on like, it was so her masculine energy is like insane. even though she's very feminine, but she was like, it's like when you go on a date with a guy and you're like, take me to a nice place. What wine do you want? This is a really nice wine. We should get this. Da, da, da. Why are you not, kind of like he needs to do this. He should be doing that. You should ask me to your blah, blah, blah. It's like so not letting the guy take any lead or coming up with any idea. And I think he kind of got put off by it.
Yeah.
And she was sort of like, he's not giving me enough, so I'm going to go find something better. And I think in the swipe environment, if your brain is always like, who else is coming through the door next, right? Who can I swipe on next? It's so easy to rule someone out because you have these imaginary hoops or rules that you think a guy is supposed to do. He may or may not know your expectations. And that you could discount somebody because they're not full on enough, or maybe they're playing it a little slower. So I think you need to let things breathe and see how they go and kind of follow their energy.
I think it's worth pointing out. You helped illuminate this to me, that this cast, if anyone, people, it's worth watching, guys, just because everyone's hot. You need to see some hot.
That's so true.
Hot boy summers. Everybody's hot. And I'm talking hot by like LA model standards. They are just gorgeous people. And what's fascinating about this is that they're all kind of sitting back, with their metaphorical arms crossed, waiting for somebody to do all the work because, hey, they're hot. And that's how when they're out there in the natural environment, not stuck in this little villa surrounded by other perfect 10s, somebody will take a chance, a guy or a girl, and make the move. And they're all just sitting there, and there's just so much. Yeah, they're waiting to ask each other to dance, and nobody does. And then, like you mentioned with Ek and Sue and a couple of the others, instead of, I guess, realizing that or owning it or saying, hey, I'm kind of scared or I'm scared right now to say something or ask something, I'm not used to it, whatever their truth is. Instead, it's just so much easier and natural to be dismissive and point the finger at the other person and saying, you don't have the balls. I need to date a real man. I think it was Ek and Sue was like saying, or I'm used to dating real men who will do this and this and this, which is, I don't love that.
I don't either. Okay. So spoiler alert, if you haven't gotten to Casa Amor yet, you probably want to pause. And if you're not going to watch the show, but you just want to hear us talk about it, then just listen. But I am dying to know, are you pretty much caught up, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. So let's talk about Andrew and Tasha because, he was working really hard to make her feel loved and safe, and she was super insecure. And the guys are kind of saying, like, because she was talking to other guys and getting to know them, he's a mug, which in British terms is like a fool. He's getting played. Mugged off. And I never saw that. Really, yeah. I just thought she was actually confused, but I think that he really liked her a lot. So then we have Casa Amor, plot twist. Basically, all the girls go away. A whole set of new girls come in. Now there's a new candy in the candy store. In fact, it's a brand new candy store. And these girls come in and they say to Andrew, like, oh, you've been mugged off. Like, Tasha is like treating you like crap because she's talking to other guys. And he's like, oh, Tasha who? And all of a sudden he just like forgets his feelings and starts dating someone who I think is much just physically less attractive than Tasha, but whatever. That's my personal opinion. But also I for some reason, I don't know anymore if I can see Tasha's true personality through her wishy-washiness. So my question to you is, was Andrew being mugged off? Is Tasha wishy-washy? Is he doing the right thing by talking and forgetting Tasha and not honoring their relationship?
I don't think that, I don't think that Tasha was mugging Andrew off intentionally. I think that, like I kind of, to touch back what I said ago, I think they're not the best communicators of vulnerability and what they just are just communicators, period. And so I think it's easy for us to go, especially when dating, right? To make up our own stories and that have to do with our own actual insecurities that we're not sharing or otherwise, and to come up with a storyline of why Tasha is quiet or something like that. And, maybe he's thinking she doesn't really like him as much. And then, of course, his friends are in his ear too, which never helps. We always talk about don't listen to your single friends for for dating advice. I just had a little kind of a little interesting hot take though to put it together. So Jeremy and I, and you're sounds like you agree as well that we're like, what in the world? So they like you mentioned this Casa Amor thing. They everyone's pretty much coupled up. They split off the boys and the girls, and they throw in a batch of new fish. But let's be honest, this fish is the B team looks wise compared to the other team.
It is the B team.
This is why I was like, fuck, why did they do that? This is why I think they did it, because I was just saying a second ago that these people are used to being in the natural environment where they are the hottest people in the room, and there's other people who are like make the first move, and all the people they threw in there, they're all first movers. They're all people who are ballsier and go at them. And they're being very blunt, and they're straight up with them. They're saying the things that, wow, me and my, Tasha, we don't talk about this, or she's not that forward, or she doesn't tell me how handsome or beautiful I am, or all these, sexy and make me feel like $1 million, right? And now,
yes, these girls are grafting, and the boys are grafting the girls, and so they're making them feel special.
Right. Ooh, which is all that we want in the end.
Which is all that we want. Which is so, and this is what I love that you brought this up, because the B team is not even, they're like, and before this season, I would say mostly the casting of Love Island was more regular looking people. It was never like super hot. And then when they brought in a quote unquote bombshell, it really was. But this season has been like insane with looks wise. So what I think is interesting is, that's a hot take too, is if you come in confident and you come in like showing that you're interested and curious and clear on what you want, you do not need to be a model. You do not need to be a 10, because 3 of these boys, Andrew, Jax, and Dami, are all looking at other women when they were very tight with perfect 10s. And these new girls are,
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that you're 100% right. So absolutely. And yeah, there's somebody for everybody out there. And yeah, we don't need, just
you don't need to be a 10.
No, we don't. And because you're 10 in the other way with your chat and your grafting game. And that's what the other person wants. They can't help that they were born, with chiseled 8-pack abs and beautiful bone structure like Davide. But what Davide does lack is, the ability to chat and graft up and be funny. And so when this other chick who's like, just completely has his eye, and I'm like, what are you doing, Davide? But she's funny and she's witty, and she's ballsy, and God, he loves it and eats it up. So, that is a great reminder for all of us. We don't have to be perfect 10 in everything.
Do you think that, so I have not watched last night's. I have to catch up, but do you think that, I know that Davide and Jax and Dami and Andrew, do you think their heads will turn? Do you think they are going to leave Ekansu, Paige, Tasha, and India?
Ooh. How long is it? Because it's such a weird little time warp in there. And like I pointed out at the beginning of this, it's like their physical actions don't match the real world actions in time, meaning that, first you normally have dinner when you're fully clothed and you're not in a version of a bra and panties on the first date. Like immediately laying down horizontally with somebody, but they fucking skip that, and they kind of hotwire it, and then they can have the opportunity to work backwards. But of course, like I just pointed out, these people aren't great at opening up, asking great questions and all these things that to really get to know people is to sit around and scream they got a text and make each other coffee, which that's a weird little dynamic, how the girls expect
the guys to bring them coffee. Okay, let's talk about, pause 1 second, because this is an important thing and I don't want to get distracted.
Yeah.
On Love Island, like if you don't watch it, just watch it.
Just watch it.
Just watch it. Just watch it. Just do it. I mean, just do it. Okay, it's an hour of your life, whatever. That adds up to like 52 hours, but whatever. So, But in this show, they when they couple up or every night they sleep in the same bed with their person. That doesn't mean they have sex with them. They just sleep. And a lot of them count on that time where they're horizontal to really connect, and what they do call pillow talk.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if it's because the cameras are off, or they don't have their microphones on, maybe, and so maybe that's where it's happening. But there is that like belief, like, oh, I really get to connect to this person when I share the bed with them, and yes, it's about the sex and all of that kind of stuff, but it's also about just getting to know each other and having that kind of that intimate time. But so, do you think that? Let's just take them one by one.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about Davide. So Davide is with Ekin-Su. Ekin-Su kind of like totally dissed him, like kind of went behind his back, kissed another boy, and he was like, liar.
What is Ekin-Su? It was your archetypes. I know you got a couple of them.
I think she is the tough girl for sure.
Tough girl for sure. Okay, tough girl.
Yeah. I think so. So do you think he is going to pick Molly, or do you think he is going to keep with Ekin-Su?
I see him switching over to Molly, as I think he should, because she mugged him early on with that move with Jay. Although I guess I do think she kind of had to, but you can't fuck with a guy's ego, especially a guy like that.
That's true.
Male model. That was too much.
It was too much for him. I don't know.
She did it dirty. She did it dirty. She should have just walked up and said, "Hey, it's early days. This other guy walked in. I think I should chat with him or whatever." And then maybe find out that there's not much to Jay either. He's also super duper handsome, but doesn't have anything interesting coming out of his mouth. But goddamn,
nothing so far. He is pretty. And I think that that's a really good thing in a hot take, a reality hot take, is that, like, if you are dating multiple people, be honest.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like, I've had clients who, a guy's like, wow, I just want to take myself off Match. I want to date you exclusively, and they're not ready. And it's okay to say, like, I really like you. I like where things are going. And also, I'm not ready to commit yet. I'm still dating, but I really, really like you. I always say to tell them, you're my front runner, and I think that she could have done that, like, Davide, you're hot. You're my front runner, but I want to have a conversation with Jay because that's why we're here.
What if you're number two runner? Do you let them know, hey, you're a C2 or whatever the position, P2, position 2 or P3? How transparent?
P2 or P3 isn't going to ask.
Okay.
I don't think they ask. Okay, so what about Jax? Jax is being a larrikin. He's being a little bit of a lad. They call him a lad. Last night he was, oh my God, he was like telling Molly, like, you're so cute, I like you, you're not reserved. And then he was going to talking to Cheyenne and being like, I like you, you're a little more this. I mean, he was just I was a fan of Jax, and now I'm not. But do you think he's gonna stick with Paige, or do you think he's gonna pick one of those blondes?
Golly, I think maybe this kind of answers a lot of these questions. Again, a little call back to what I said. I think these people are reactionary daters, meaning they, instead of opening up the door for asking a question, they wait to see what is kind of being dangled in front of them. So I think if Paige gives any indication she's going to mug him off, or if he thinks that, then he will. I think these guys, a lot of them are cowards, and they'll switch over, and they'll just never. Most of them won't have the balls to say, "Hey, it did really hurt me. I really like you. This sucks that you're, choosing some other dude." So I think he's gonna. The ego's there. I think he's gonna react to how Paige does. Is this other chick that he's talking to? Is she? Paige is my favorite so far.
Well, I think what happened was Jax ended up telling Molly that he's not interested. So now Molly's with Davide, and now he's with that blonde girl, Cheyenne.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I know. Again, so it's interesting. And then Dami is totally interested in someone else too.
I didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't either. And that's, and that's what's really interesting is, and maybe we can kind of start to end with this, but I think when a guy says, I'm really interested in you, and his words and actions match, and it's in early days, right? Like whether it's the first 3 weeks or the first 3 months, you want to be what I call cautiously optimistic.
Right.
Because everybody can be like, oh my God, you're my bae. Like you have everything I want. You tick all the boxes. But really true compatibility is it sustainable over time? Are they consistent over time? And I think that this experiment of Casa Amor, it just basically throws them in an opportunity that it makes sense that they're going to be interested in other people because they didn't create that strong of a foundation. They all stayed in cautiously optimistic, which is fair. Nobody was boyfriend and girlfriend, really.
Yeah.
And nobody was really clear in their feelings with each other, a little bit with Jax and Paige. But I think until someone says, I am committed to you, I am like, we're both taking our stuff offline. I want to like give it a go with just you. Like, I think you have to always be cautiously optimistic, but you have to really see if it can go the distance. My only concern is that Andrew told Tasha and Tasha told Andrew, like, you know, my funnel is only on you, but that's still not, we're exclusive. I think it's going to be really crowded in the villa because they're all going to recouple and then come back. And then lastly, we have to talk about Luca and Gemma.
Can we also talk about real quick on Dami? Can we talk about the tip that Dami had with Fishmonger guy? I like Luca. What in the world? That was they kind of like fucking just spat. And I felt like, again, kind of like what I'm saying, that there was a lot of the guys aren't great about expressing what's really going on with them or they're hurt or whatever. But that was so they blow up and Dami just like calls them a fake and a phony. Like what in the world? So I think Luca still.
I think I know that one. I know that one.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, this is my psychoanalysis. Is that Dami is basically was really into India. They were like, I thought they were pretty committed, but now he's being, like wanting to get with this other girl. And I think he is selling himself on the fact that it's okay.
Yeah.
And my psychoanalysis analysis of Dami is that he just fully projected his own fakeness onto Luca. And was like, you're so fake. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, he's totally been true. And I think that he felt really crappy. Had just come from kissing that other girl. And he was just like, you know, why are you egging me on? He literally worked himself into a frenzy because he felt shitty about himself. And he just projected all that shit on Luca. And I just think Luca is just not having it. I don't think Luca is fake. I liked the way Luca was like, oh, I guess how you could see that about this and that. He didn't get really defensive. I mean, he tried to be reflective about it.
I love it. British people are so much better at not screaming at each other than American.
This is just this cast.
Is it? God, the other ones, were they screaming at each other? The other ones, this cast is so reserved. So.
Yeah, no, I think they are way more reserved. I think they are way more aware that they're going to get famous after. I think they're trying not to get typecast as the villain, the party girl, the liar. You know, I think they're really and you know what? I think that that's hurting their ability to make connections because everybody's kind of holding back. And usually at this time, in other seasons, when they do Casa Amor, there's a solid 2 to 3 girls that sleep on outside because they're committed. And there's usually 2 to 3 boys that sleep outside because they've committed. And I think this group overall, like you said earlier, they're not showing their cards. If you're not going to be vulnerable, if you don't say I really like you, if you don't say, do you want to commit? Do you want to be my girlfriend?
Yeah.
It's really hard for the other person to put their heart forward too. And so as a result, the only one who's done that is Luca and Gemma.
Yeah. I don't like her, but okay.
I'm surprised by Gemma because she's 19. I was like, you're kidding me. But she actually, Yeah.
No way.
She honestly says some of the most mature, wisest things.
Yeah, she does. What? Whoa.
She's
I had
19.
no idea.
Youngest Islander ever.
Oh my God. She does have old woman energy. Wow.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. And she also said, someone asked her, would you be boyfriend and girlfriend? Would you leave this show with Luca, boyfriend, girlfriend? And she said, I would have to really get to know them outside of here before I would make that kind of commitment and have them meet my family and all that kind of stuff. So she surprises me. I think Luca is a smitten kitten, but I think I don't want to ever say a guy who shows that he's really into someone is a bad guy, because he just knows what he wants. And, he seems pretty committed. She seems pretty committed too. She's just super low key.
Super low key, a little avoidant is kind of what
for sure avoidant.
She's but she keeps leaning back and he keeps leaning more forward and more forward. He's gonna fall over, eventually. But hopefully she outside of here she can be a little more vulnerable and lean a little bit. I'd like to see her snog with him on her own once in a while.
Yeah, well, I think what's going to happen with her is that she's going to go back and she's going to realize what she had when she sees all these other guys totally disloyal. And she's going to be like, wow, my guy is the only guy who slept outside. But I do think her game is avoid, I only like you if you're hard to get. Yeah. And I think she's 19. So that's my story. So we'll have to see what happens, because Casa Amor is coming to a head. And I will look forward to, while we will not discuss it soon because you are going on an epic vacation with Dr. Emily, we will revisit it the next time we speak.
And you're saying it's possible that all of them, they mug off their partners, and the house could be filled with all these little trollops and C-teamers running around, all fighting for a place to sleep?
You don't know what's about to happen, my friend.
Well, tune in then.
Tune in. It's going to get juicy. You guys, you can catch up. It's on Hulu. It's bingey. Maybe there'll be bad weather this weekend and you can just catch up. I think we're on episode 28. But anyway, or get a VPN on ITV. I don't know if that's even legal, so I did not say that. All right. Chris Gillis, I love you. Ladies, whatever you do, remember, you don't have to be a 10 to get the hot guy. So life check yourself. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes, and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Batista, and let's talk soon.